It is March 14th, 2022, and welcome to Flicker Effect, episode 397. I'm David Lott. Joining me, as always, is Bobby Jackson. How's it going, Bobby?
It's going good. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you for asking. Yasha Wilson is also here. How's it going, Yasha?
Hey, good. Hey, everybody. Creeping up close to that 400 mark, that big 400.
I'm determined now to get there earlier than Bobby thought we were going to get there.
Out of spite.
You predicted what, June or July?
July, right? I think I said.
Yeah, I think you said July.
I think we'll make it. I think we'll make it. Yeah.
We're doing this. Also here, Michelle Hillard. How's it going, Michelle?
Hey, hi everyone. Hello.
Michelle.
Yeah, definitely gonna hit that 400 by the end of April.
That's the plan.
It's happening.
Oh, we should do it for.
It's like 2 weeks. Watch.
I was gonna say we should do the 400 review, be Doctor Strange, but that's in like May, so I mean we'll definitely hit it by then. So.
Oh, yeah, we can time it. Just do bonus episodes in between, like little shorts.
There you go.
YouTube shorts.
YouTube shorts, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Did you like the movie? Yes. Okay.
Yes. Plenty more views than anything we've done.
Right.
Well, speaking of reviews, we are going back to an old format for this episode, and I think here on out, I say an old format where each episode, each week, we are going to all watch the same movie and review a movie together. This week, later in the episode, we're going to be talking about The Adam Project from Netflix. So look forward to that. I was thinking, and I mean, I don't think we've even determined this for the next episode, but probably from here on out, like at the end of the episodes, we'll be talking, we'll reveal what movie we're going to review the next week, so that if you're watching and you want to have seen the same movie that we're going to be talking about, we'll let you know. We'll also share that on our Twitter and Instagram accounts. So you can find out what we'll be reviewing that next upcoming episode on there. You can find us on those accounts at Flicker_effect, by the way. But we'll get to that in a little bit. In the meantime, it was actually a pretty busy, active news week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there was the news this morning, or yesterday morning. It was kind of a Debbie Downer, but.
Oh, well, there was.
Yeah. Unfortunately, William Hurt passed away.
Yes.
That was sad news yesterday morning. I was actually pretty bummed.
Wait, who passed away, Michelle?
William Hurt.
William
All
Hurt.
right, I thought you said somebody else's name because I heard something, but I didn't hear William Hurt.
Well, William Hurt passed away, unfortunately.
Yes. Yeah, that was a bummer.
Yeah, I think, I was trying to tell somebody at work, like he's known for some really deep dramas and heartfelt stuff. And so, like, I named off, what is it, the Woman and the Spider?
Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Yeah.
And they're like, and I was kind of like, okay. And then I was like, have you seen any of the Marvel movies? And they're like, yeah. And like, he plays Thaddeus Ross?
Yeah. Thunderbolt Ross.
And so I was like, so he's kind of like a colonel, kind of like he's a big wig in the military. She's like, no. I'm like, have you seen the 1998 version of Lost in Space, the movie? She's like, no. And I'm like, I got nothing for you.
All right, I give up.
Yeah. At that point, it's like if they don't know him from like the Marvel movie, I mean, and he had a small role, but important one for people that know the character and know what he brings to the dynamic of the Hulk and Bruce and everything like that. But another one you could have thrown out that I absolutely loved him in was A History of Violence. That was great.
Oh yeah, it's a big one.
Great one.
But yeah, I was kind of a downer yesterday morning as far as news goes. But there's other news that's good.
Yeah, Bobby, what have we got going on this week?
Oh, so I get to transition from that into some good news.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we got the
sad
stuff out the way.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like what the regular news does too. It's like the world is on fire, but now it's sports.
Hey!
Yeah. But they get paid good money to do that transition. I don't know how to do it as good, so I'll just go right into it. We did get some news, like David mentioned, a decent amount of it. And I just picked a few of the bigger ones that stood out to me. And one that we got, I think it was just maybe yesterday or the day before, was finally we have confirmation of Deadpool 3 and who the director is. And coincidence of all coincidences, or maybe not, it ends up being the same guy who directed the movie we'll be talking about a little bit later, The Adam Project, which is Sean Levy. Now, one thing that's actually good about this is that Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds have worked together previously, not just with the Adam Project, but also in Free Guy. And I know a few of us on here have seen and liked that movie quite a bit. So that seems like a good pairing. And Ryan Reynolds himself likes working with Sean Levy. He says they have a really collaborative work experience when they're doing something together. But not only that, honestly, one of the bigger things that is maybe not being talked about as much, but is still sort of a significant thing, is that we've got the two guys who wrote the first ones back, and they weren't almost supposed to be back for this third one, but something didn't happen with the other writer, and now we've got Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick back to write Deadpool 3. So this seems like a nice combination of people all working together on this movie. So I have no idea what we're going to get in terms of the scope of this movie and it being the first MCU version of Deadpool. But we do know that Kevin Feige said a couple years ago that the Deadpool will still be rated R. So at least we have all the mixings for something special. But I'm curious just to know how everybody else is feeling. And I'll say, like, Yasha, when you heard this, how'd you feel about it?
It's kind of hard.
Oh, okay.
Speechless. Yeah, let's go with that. It's kind of hard to address without actually talking about the Adam Project because they kind of correlate in the same. But I will give, since he did Free Guy, they did Free Guy together. I really, really enjoyed that movie because I thought they did such a good job of kind of hiding what that movie was really about. In a nutshell for me. I mean, just kind of like it took a weird turn towards the end, but I still laugh at some of the scenes from the movie. And I think I've watched it 2 or 3 times now, maybe even 4, like once when I was traveling too. So I really, really enjoyed Free Guy. So I'm really looking forward to it on that aspect. And then the Adam Project, we'll talk about it a little bit later. I didn't not like it, I guess you could say, but I'm more interested to see what they can bring when it comes to a rated R aspect. And I mean, Deadpool is kind of a no holds barred type of character. And that's what we've gotten in these past 2 movies is really, really dark, funny humor and some vulgarity. And I mean, if they can kind of keep that same vein and same thread with, that same tone, I guess you could say, I'm looking forward to it. Like, I mean, I think Sean Levy's a great director. He's very creative and he's a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do because I mean, like I said before, and I'll say it again, it's like I like Ryan Reynolds. I think he's really, really funny. And I especially like how he treats a lot of his fans. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this kind of plays out. So I'm looking forward to it on that level.
David, what do you think?
Yeah, it is tough to talk about what I think of this based on without having to talk about the Adam Project because I have not seen Free Guy.
Well, his stuff worked from Stranger Things at least. So
I do. I'll just say deep down, I feel confident that this. It sounds like as long as they have a good relationship, like Ryan Reynolds says, and Ryan Reynolds knows obviously the Deadpool material and so well. I think it could work out is all I'll say. Well, I'm looking forward to another movie. I think it'll be interesting to see how it feels being a Marvel Studios made film, but I have also a feeling it won't feel that much different at all. If not, hopefully better.
How did you feel about Real Steel?
I never saw Real Steel.
Never saw that. Really?
Oh, dude, that's surprisingly good, David. Like it's I mean, would you agree, Bobby? Like kind of like surprisingly good. Like I like Hugh Jackman, and when I first watched, my buddy talked me into seeing it because I thought it looked absolutely mind-blowingly stupid. But then when you watch it, you're just kind of like, oh, that was really sweet. The good feels.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So Michelle, you haven't weighed in yet. What are you thinking?
From what I've seen with his work in Stranger Things, and then what I've seen in the Ryan Project is that I can see that he and Ryan Reynolds have a really great correlation together on screen, and they definitely are putting ideas together. And I think he can direct Ryan in a really good way. I think the real strong part of this story that, like you touched on, Bobby, was nobody really touched about is the writers.
Yeah,
I think getting the writers back is what's really going to be the key point here, and I stress that because I think they know the material, but honestly, it's almost concerning in a weird way. Like, I don't want them to have this like go big or go home, and then they overshoot it too much with Deadpool, and then it becomes very like, wow, this is just over the top. It's just not even like funny. It's almost like I don't want Deadpool to go to the level where you're just going, oh, this is a little cringy. They went a little too far. And that's my only concern is they're like, okay, it's number 3, let's go big or go home. And I want them to get that. I want them to have consistency and solid writing and jokes. So that would be, I think it's good news as a whole, but yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that's probably my biggest fear in it all is just that being the third movie, they may be tempted to do everything in the kitchen sink, throw everything in there, and definitely don't want that. Yeah, so
a bunch of shots at Disney and a bunch of shots at Fox, and just kind of like everything all over the top. And like Michelle, you have a great point. Like they could just oversaturate it with teasing and jokes of the mouse and all this other stuff. And I hope that they don't go that route because they could really have like a really fun, strong story if they kind of. I mean, I know this is a long shot, but maybe even getting what's his name back to play in the movie? Damn it, I'm blanking. No, not Hugh Jackman. The guy from the second movie, the time traveler. I can't remember.
Cable. I mean,
yes.
Josh
Brolin. Yeah, it was Brolin. Jesus, we were all like, that was probably just doing part because my piss poor. Description.
Like what's?
I mean, I couldn't have been any worse. It's like, oh, he was a guy and he was in the movie and he was really funny and it's like it was just.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Sorry, Bobby, go ahead. I jumped on you.
No, it's all good. I think you guys all make some really valid points, and I think that what you said, Yasha, really is encapsulates it all. Is that we just have to have a good story because that's I think what was at least central to the other two is that at the core of it there was still a good story being told, and then everything around that was the jokes and the meta humor and stuff. So as long as they don't just make it one big long meta humor thing and jokes galore, I think we should be okay. And just seeing how they tie into the MCU and see who they'll try and bring in from that, maybe that'll be kind of interesting as well. But we shall see. I mean, it's still early days, and I think they're still working out that script. So I don't think we'll see it for a little while, but I'm sure we'll hear about it as soon as something happens. Next story was honestly something that I hadn't even thought about and really was kind of taken aback by it a little bit. And that's the fact that it looks as though Amazon may be getting another video game series based off of God of War. And now it feels like we're getting to that point where maybe they're starting to figure out, and by they I mean Hollywood is starting to figure out that instead of trying to make these self-contained movies where it's 2 hours and you're trying to tell the story, that long form streaming might be the way to go. So far, I won't be able to remember all these things, but I know that we have on the way the series from I can't remember. It's on HBO Max, and it's the one where it's The Last of Us. Thank you, David. And there's that one coming out on HBO Max, I think next year. And then we have the Halo series coming out on Paramount Plus next week. And now this God of War. And so it seems like maybe this might be the way to go. And there's story on Deadline that they had the exclusive story that they said that the adaptation is going to come from the Expanse creators and executive producers, along with the Wheel of Time executive producer as well for Sony PlayStation Productions. And I have not had a chance to see the Wheel of Time. I've heard decent things about it, but the Expanse I've heard nothing but great things about. And I have not had a chance to watch it, and it's on my list of shows I really want to watch because I always hear such high praise for that show. So it leaves me to believe the fact that one, Amazon is involved, and we know they have the Lord of the Rings or the Rings of Power show coming out this year. So they're obviously betting big on genre and things that they can make into something that's long lasting. And so this being one of their properties they're going after in the video game world has me hopeful, especially knowing who's involved. And I've only played a little bit of the game, and that's mostly the latest version of the game. So I don't have a lot of experience with the character of Kratos and his history. I know some of it, but from what I've played and from what I've seen, there's a rich history of story there that really could be developed into something good. So I know I'm excited, at least at the prospect of it, but I'm not sure in terms of when this will be or how big the budget and scope will be. But if there's any expectations from this, Michelle, do you think that this is something you would want to watch? Does it speak to you in any kind of way, or you just will sort of wait until you see something more from it?
I mean, for me, I'm interested in it because I have seen a little bit of the game, and I think the game is really intriguing. I've actually been tempted to play it, and I don't know, like I think it's the idea of the storyline is really good. So I think if they could put out a decent trailer, they'll probably captivate an audience that might not have initially been interested in it. So I think that's going to be their that big key moment for them to gain audience viewers that are not familiar with the video game or the storyline. But no, I think it'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think depending upon the storyline of video games, some of them are a little more intriguing than others. And this one I thought it's cool to watch. So I would be interested to see a show.
What do you think, Yasha? I see you smiling.
Look, if they can make it anywhere near as cool as the video game was, I think I played like the last two, maybe three. Like I didn't play the first one, but I think I played the second and third. And I think there was a fourth one. Am I not mistaken in that? Like the fourth one incorporated a little bit of his son.
Yeah, I believe that's the fourth one. Yeah.
Yeah. The latest one that they released, which I think maybe was a year or so ago or whatever. I didn't play that one, but my cousin and I got really into playing the second, third, and fourth one, and the story is so much fun. It's so cool, and if you're a fan of Greek mythology, like you're gonna really geek out on this because they really do incorporate a lot of the Greek mythology into this story, into this character. I'm excited. Like I'm totally down for this. Like this could be a lot of fun. Like if they do it right, it could be really, really cool. But that's saying a lot, and that's expecting and hoping, having high hopes because, they have lots of product and, material to pull from, even when it comes to comic books. I mean, for the most part, it's like comic books are storyboards and stories and scripts already written for you. So you literally have to take from one area and put it in the next and basically make it live. And sometimes they just really screw that up, and they've been doing that for a long time. So this is, source material that's already pretty much done, and you have a lot of story already done, and it's literally just transition of composition from, video game to screen, and it could be a lot of fun and very, very cool, but at the same time, it could be an absolute fucking disaster.
Yeah, David, I know you've played a little bit of the game, so are you feeling like this might be something special that they can do on Amazon, or are you just kind of thinking this might be another one of those ones where it sounds like it has good potential, but it'll probably end up crashing and burning?
No, I think it has the potential to be great, but kind of like Yasha said, as we've seen with video game, adaptations, it really could go one way or the other. Actually, I really haven't played almost any God of War ever. I played like on my PSP once for a little bit, like one of the kind of side games for God of War that was on PSP. But otherwise, I've never played like any of the main games. And I mean, the promising news about this, I think, is that most recent title on PS4, which seemed to garner so much high praise. That I was like, okay, I feel like I really want to play this, or is it the kind of thing that I'll feel lost because I've never played a God of War game before? So I never have picked that up, but I think there's great potential, but kind of like Ashley said, I guess it's cross our fingers and hope and wait and see.
I guess that's one of those things where I feel like it will be really based on what we first see from that one and which storyline they're going to go to. Because like Yasha alluded to earlier, there's in the early games, it takes place with the Greek mythos. And then in later, it's at least in this most recent game, it's the Norse mythology. So it depends on, like you said, David, this most recent game has been super popular. So maybe they would want to start there, but it's possible that maybe they envision this thing going for quite a long time and they might start somewhere at the beginning in the Greek mythos aspect. So either way, I think they have a lot to pull from. So it'll be really cool to see what they do with it and who they get. That'll be really interesting to see who they cast as Kratos. So looking forward to at least hearing some of that information as it starts to leak out a little bit more.
Right.
Our big thing to talk about for this week is last week the internet finally got its wish that it's been begging and screaming and crying for to the nerd gods, and that was the trailer for Obi-Wan, the series coming out on Disney Plus in May. And so we didn't get too much. It was a teaser. It wasn't too long, but it just enough, I would say, to at least give you a first look at it and to maybe get all the internet a buzz about the things as they normally do when it comes to Star Wars. So, Michelle, I heard you when I said that we got the Obi-Wan trailer.
Oh. I mean, I've kind of kept... I'll be honest, like, I initially wasn't even going to watch the trailer just because I'm going to see the show. I am interested in an Obi-Wan storyline, especially these gap years that we don't know. As a general audience, I think we don't know much about. I mean, I'm sure, once you're in Star Wars and you're reading the books and you're watching some of the other shows, you probably know a lot more. But I think as kind of more me, I'm a little more spectatory. I don't know that much in this time frame. So it's definitely an interesting premise. David kind of convinced me to watch the trailer. So I did, and I feel like I have mixed feelings on it. I feel like I'm looking at it going, okay, I can see some good in this. There's definitely some quality shots that are happening. I think the music they chose for it didn't quite fit. As spectacular as that piece is, and as iconic as it is now with the character of Obi-Wan, especially Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, it doesn't quite fit in my opinion. And then some of the characters look a little weird, a little different. And then I guess, and I kind of said, like, I was like, they seem kind of off. Like they're not fully engrossed in what kind of, I guess, ethnicity would be the best word to go with. Alien, ethnic. I'm trying to think of the appropriate word here, but basically it doesn't seem to quite line up with it. And then there's one main character, and David showed me this side by side of what this character's alien ethnicity has been in past things and what this character looks like in the show. And I'm like, that ain't the same as this. Like, the head shape isn't it? Like, it's like, that's not the same. That looks nothing like that. So, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. I think just time's going to tell. Part of me doesn't even want to see any more. I'm just going to wait till the show comes out. So, I'm a mixed bag on the trailer itself. I don't think the trailer was done that well. And I don't think it's presenting the product that well. But I can see there are glimmers of good in it. So, yeah. And I'm curious about the show regardless. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. But David's got some good thoughts on it.
Oh, I'm waiting on David. I got to go to Yasha first.
I mean, Oscar Isaac looks great in Moon Knight, and I just can't wait to see what that's going to be. And no, I kid. I mean, it looked good to me. Like, but again, I don't know as much about that world after what they've just shown me when it comes to Star Wars. So, I had a shit ton of questions. I've already watched a couple of videos online when it's like, what you need to know about the Obi-Wan series. Who are these people that, this person is, and, like the black girl, and then, the guy where you're talking about the dude with the funny head. And it's like, it's very clearly not the same type of, makeup and stuff like that. So it's like, okay, well, maybe for practical reasons they couldn't, adjust them or whatever. I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't know why they made the decisions that they did. I hope that this is what they present in the film, their show, because this is what people want to see. They want to see bad guys with lightsabers. They want to see good guys with lightsabers, and they want to see the Force being used. They want to see a lot of fighting and a lot of really cool action sequences. I really, really hope they take that, and that's what I think people really want to see. And if you don't bring that to them, they're going to crucify this show. Like, if it's just Obi-Wan walking around the desert, it's just going to get destroyed. Like, they want gaps filled in. They want to know that he was like, I mean, there's one scene where it's like you can kind of see that he's watching a young Luke Skywalker. They want to know that he's kind of there and in that world, just kind of, floating around, doing what he was supposed to be doing, which is essentially protecting this boy from the big bad, from Vader. So I don't know much about the show. I just know what they've showed me, and then what I've done a little research and watching the videos online. I'm looking forward to it. I'll watch it. I mean, you could have probably, like Michelle, I probably wouldn't have needed to see the trailer, and I would have watched it regardless. So, I mean, I'm interested to see what they're going to bring forth. Like, I watched Boba Fett, and I didn't really think that was all that great, but I watched it all the way through without question, and every week I was tuning in. So if this is bad, I'll probably watch it all the way and then be like the rest of the people and just crucify them and be like, why did you do this to one of our favorite characters?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Well, I'll say for my part, I think I probably enjoyed it a little bit more than anyone else. I think I just wanted to really just get a look and see what we're going to have a taste of. And I think that was enough for me to make me happy, just on the basis of, like you said, just getting to see bad guys with lightsabers and Obi-Wan, and just, I don't know, maybe just a slight glimpse of what maybe the story might be there, other than what we kind of figure it to be. So I guess in that sense, I was easy to please, but I wasn't also one of the people that was necessarily kind of not angry, but because that's not the word I'm looking for. But I didn't find myself kind of feeling like I was disturbed that they had not released anything yet. I was more than willing to be patient for whatever. So I guess my anticipation level of this, what we got, wasn't super high because I wasn't waiting around for it. So I think once we got it, I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, it made me feel a little bit more excited to be able to see when it comes around, because it just gave me just enough of what I needed to get that much more excited about it than I already was. So I will now then let David give his thoughts on this teaser that we got.
I feel like there's pressure. You wait to ask me till last.
I just feel like you have the most to say about it.
I guess. I mean, first, when it comes to it as a teaser, I think it's fine. I watched it. I immediately watched it a second time, of course, and I found myself going, hey, I'm not any less excited for this show. Like, I'm being a Star Wars fan. This show has definitely my expectations so far for any of the Star Wars content we've gotten on Disney Plus. My excitement for this is higher than anything we've seen so far.
Really?
And I mean, it's Obi-Wan, and I love, if there's anything I liked from the prequels, it was Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
That's true.
And
that's fair.
so it has me excited about it, and it has me excited to see things from this era that are better, maybe, than some of the things we saw during the prequels. So that gets me excited. Does this teaser change any of my excitement? Not really, though. Maybe the more I've thought about it, maybe a little bit. I don't know. But I mean, I think as a teaser, it was just okay. It's not like I'm some expert on how you cut a good teaser, but I feel like I see certain teasers that I'm like, man, that gets me excited. And I watched this one and I was like, it was fine. But I also think maybe that's evidence of something I think you would agree with me on, Bobby, is that I think they are definitely making an effort to hold back as much as possible.
Absolutely.
And maybe it makes it even, I would understand that it makes it even more difficult to cut together a really great teaser trailer when you're really revealing only so much. And that's what it feels like as you watch it. Like the shots that they choose and the shots that they chose just seem so kind of whatever that I'm like, it just feels like they're holding a lot back. And I'm totally cool with that. But hey, if I'm going to talk about it as a teaser, I'm going to go, well, it's fine. We're probably not going to really have time to talk about it, but just before this show, I finally watched the teaser for The Boys season 3. That's a solid teaser. That's just, it's cut really well. Something about it that works as a teaser.
It's interesting you say that, and I'll wrap this up so we can go on to the next segment. But I watched The Boys teaser, and I almost had I wouldn't say the opposite reaction of you, but I saw it and I had to turn it off because I felt like I was starting to get too much because it was a lot of stuff. And so I like that almost that the Obi-Wan was less is more, as opposed to seeing too much from the Obi-Wan, because like Michelle said, I don't think I will watch anymore after this teaser because I'm so scared that they're going to start showing me things I don't want to see yet. And I felt like this didn't show me anything I didn't necessarily want to see yet. So I'm good. And I thought with watching The Boys, as it started going on, I was like, oh, I'm seeing too much. I got to stop. So I didn't even finish it. But what I saw, it looked pretty great.
Yeah. But I mean, as a teaser goes, it's fine. And I'm not to drag this on too long, but yeah, as you alluded to, Michelle, as you alluded to, Yasha, you see shots of the Grand Inquisitor in this teaser. And I don't even have a lot invested in this guy. I've really not watched Star Wars Rebels, but I know who he is. I know what he looks like. And the first time I watched the teaser, I was like, I know he's in this show, but that wasn't him. I really watched it the second time and I was like, wow, that's him. But no, that just doesn't look right. No. I mean, it's am I angry about it? How he looks in the show? I think it remains to be seen. But you look at some of these shots and it gives me pause.
Especially this image right here.
Yeah.
The makeup looks, and I really feel bad because I don't want to shit on anybody's job, but the makeup looks a little.
I'm reserving most of my judgment until I see the show. But you get these 2 quick shots in the teaser, and I know there's been a ton of arguing, of course, as there always is on film Twitter and such. And you get the argument that, oh, well, the animated shows, you have characters like Darth Vader and Count Dooku. Those are 2 of the favorite examples of how they look different compared to their animated version and their live action version. And I get that. But, at the same time, I don't think it's a fair comparison. I mean, with that said, if you're watching, there's the animated version of this character. I don't think it's a fair comparison because we've seen this race in live action before in Revenge of the Sith. I mean, it's not like they've never been seen. I mean, they look quite different.
I was going to say, what are you talking about? I couldn't remember what you were talking about. I was like, oh yeah, we did see that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen that's live action.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe a little bit of CGI going there, but
with that said, I mean, I'm gonna wait to see the show. It's just 2 quick shots, but it's not even to me a matter of oh well, of course different people even within a race are gonna look a little different from each other. Yeah, of course, but I that does not play for me. That argument doesn't work for me in this situation. From what
Not
we've
in this
seen so
situation,
far.
because we already have a reference of what he should look like based on the animation, at least.
Right,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Like I think maybe just the actor. I think his head shape is just too round and broad
Sure.
and not long and
Right.
narrow. And I think that's one of the bigger things. Like if I were to really compare this images, and it's like I feel bad. This actor's gonna get pooped on just because his head's round.
Yeah, he looks more like Pinhead without the pins, almost.
Right.
Yeah. And so yeah.
So it's tough.
It
Like,
is.
you know, I don't want to shit on it too much, having, you know, since we don't really have the final product yet. But it to me is concerning when I, you know, see those images in the teaser and go like
quality.
How do you how do you screw this up? I don't understand.
There's a certain quality level, and it's like, wow, they really went under that line there.
I feel like maybe if Dave Filoni was directly involved in the project, maybe there might have been a little bit more there. But I know that Dave and Jon Favreau are more like consulting and, you know, reference
but it's
points
like
more so than
it's like to like what you're worried about too. It's like, I mean, I don't know much about some of the Star Wars outside of what we've already been told, right? And what we've already been shown. And anytime they show us something new, I defer to you guys. David, you in particular. I texted you the other day about the Clone Wars, and we were kind of talking about that a little bit and whatnot. But it's like, you know, learning about some of these characters, like even in the book of Boba Fett, when they introduced Cad Bane, like I didn't know who this guy was, but it was like this big reveal at the end of the show, and I was like, okay, who the hell is that? Like it meant nothing really to me. And then I watched, you know, like a 5 or 7 minute video on how much of a badass this guy is, and I'm just like, dude, I can't wait to see what this guy does. Okay, so he's going to pull out his gun and then he's going to die. Cool. So that was really it, what we did with this dude. And, you know, it was a letdown for me. And I knew nothing about this character beforehand. So I can't even imagine what the people that like who are invested and know who this character is and know how badass this guy is, to the fact that it's like, I mean, like just to you know, for those that don't know, it's like he had this mask on because he didn't want to be force choked, and if somebody were to force choke him, he wanted to make sure that he could still breathe. That's a badass move right there. That means this guy goes after everyone. He does not give a shit. But in this show, in this very brief cameo of his, like I thought they got the costume and everything really, really well, and it was done. But you watch and you're just like, so that was disappointing. Like there was a lot of buildup, and now he's dead. So we just move on. Okay, I guess we move on.
Only thing I'll say against that, not against it, sorry, the wrong use of words. Only thing I'll say in regards to that is that in episode 1, we saw Darth Maul get cut in half, and he still seemed to make a comeback when you think that he would. So you can never count out people being dead in Star Wars unless they're Han Solo. But another thing.
This is true.
I guess with that, I'll turn it back to you, David, to maybe talk about some things you've been watching.
Well, I mean, for me, and I know Michelle, you saw it as well. I don't know if you guys did, but I did watch Turning Red, which is the new Pixar film over on Disney Plus. Did not get a theatrical release. Went straight to Disney Plus. I'll just say quickly, and I feel like my review of this is going to sound probably similar to my review of Luca when I talked about that, which also went straight to Disney Plus. I really liked this movie a lot. I thought it was very good. It's one of those things, though, and this is where the comparison comes in. Like, I find that, you know, you start thinking about Pixar films, which for the most part, Pixar films have either been good or great. Like there's, you know, really no bad Pixar films for the most, you know, really. And some of them are just stellar films. And, you know, in that respect, like, is this one of their like top notch, you know, films? Maybe not, but it's still, I think, a very delightful film. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, is it on the level for me as like a Finding Nemo or an Up or a Wall-E or an Inside Out? No, it's not. But no, it's still very good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So yeah, that's Turning Red over on Disney Plus. Michelle, what do you think of it?
I think I fall in a similar camp where it's like I still really enjoyed this movie, but yeah, no, it's not in the top tiered level of Pixar films. And not that I want to always be comparing like, Pixar films, like which one's better, which one's really, but
it's not always about comparing them,
right? It's not at the same level of. I'm not gonna say storytelling. I think execution of storytelling as Wall-E and Finding Nemo and Up wind up being, but still very enjoyable. I think it's hard sometimes you're talking about these preteen years, and just like the preteen years, it gets a little messy. And I think they executed it pretty well with Inside Out and navigating those preteen emotions in that direction. And in Luca, still a little bit of like preteen, like I'm an independent person and I can do big things and that's okay. And with this, it's, I might not be the person that you see in your eyes that I am. I am my own individual human being, and that's something you're gonna not. I can't make you accept. You're either going to accept it, and it is what it is, or not. But I'm accepting of myself, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think that's kind of one of the bigger messages that happens. There's a few, but I think they did a good job of delivering home those kind of things in it. And the jokes are pretty cute. But yeah, it's definitely a preteen Pixar movie. It's not. I think little ones kind of go, wait, what? What's going on? I don't quite understand. And I think the other thing that might be a challenge is like the setting is not current times, and it's not like an aloof timeline, like it could happen at any point in time. It's very specifically, this is 2002. This is me in the year 2002. And so there might be things that could get lost in a little bit of translation because it's very time capsule-y in that sense. But otherwise, I still liked it. I thought it was really enjoyable.
Yeah, that's not like shoving the era, I think, in your face. Like at first, it's like hints of like, oh, the cell phones they're using and the technology they're using, and then finally, at some point, you see specifically, oh, that's the year. Okay, yep, that makes sense based on what I've been seeing so far in this movie. Okay, I get it.
But maybe some of the jokes might not land with some of the younger kids quite the same way they're landing with the parents. So that's more kind of what I'm saying in that regard. Like as a kid, I'd be like, wait, why is that funny? Like, I don't understand that. So, but overall, I did enjoy it.
Did either of you guys watch it?
I did not.
Same. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I almost thought maybe that would be what we would watch next week. So I held off a little bit. But I was curious, though. One thing I'd heard about this movie, and I don't know how true it is. It could just be someone being silly. But someone said it's supposed to be a metaphor for women getting their period.
I mean, that's part of it. Yeah,
it's a part of it.
That's part of it.
It's growing up.
It's a movie about adolescence. Yeah, is one of the primary themes here. So that is definitely part of it. But I wouldn't say it's just all bad. I wouldn't say it's super like
heavy focused
that's
on
what
it.
Turning Red means. Like,
yeah, that's why I was like, that's what I thought, or at least that's what they made it sound like from what I had heard.
So terrible. That's so terrible. So many
well, you know how
jokes.
those animators and people are. They have sort of a sly sense of humor, and the ones that put different types of sexual innuendo in old school Disney cartoons and stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me that they would do something sort of subtle in a way that you can kind of decipher still. But okay, at least I know it's some of that, but not
some of that,
the full scope of that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like, it's hard to explain a lot without going into too much detail. But yeah, like it deals with some of it, but it deals with adolescence, and in adolescence, we all go through changes. Girls go through changes. Boys go through changes. We go through hormones and mood swings, and we all deal with it, and that's more what the focus is how do you handle when your emotions are so big that you still have to be in control of them.
This movie
I still struggle with that.
I to this day.
I still struggle with that.
I was going to say, compared to the other Pixar films, it is nice to see a Pixar film that has its own style, and it does feel a lot like it gets a lot of inspiration from anime. For sure. So that's nice to see.
It is.
Even though all Pixar films do have a kind of general same look about them, that this does do its own thing style-wise. I like the touches of like the anime hits here and there that would pop up. I was like, that's pretty good. It's well done, and it's like, oh yeah, it's kind of fun. No, it was a nice touch to really stylize it that way. Yasha, did you watch anything else you wanted to discuss this week?
No, not really. I don't think I watched anything else. I started back up with Mrs. Maisel. I was watching some of that. I was actually starting to watch Better Call Saul season 4 again, and just kind of getting ready for season 5 to come out on Netflix. I'm really, really excited about that one. And I mean, I think that's about it. I'm trying to remember if there was something else. I can try and take a quick look, but I didn't write it down this week. I wanted to watch Upload because I saw that season 2 for that came out, but I just didn't get a chance to do that yet either. So yeah, no, there's a couple of things that I haven't gotten a chance to watch just yet, but looking forward to it.
Bobby, how about you?
I do, but I think I'll defer and punt until next week. And since I know we're on time, don't want a too long of a show, so I'll wait. I'll say is one thing that I did watch is I started Picard season 2. It came out on Paramount Plus a couple weeks ago, 2 episodes in, and so far I'm enjoying it. It's a interesting storyline that they've got going on, and have some characters from the Star Trek Next Generation past appearing, and so far in these last couple episodes. So yeah, definitely into it and looking forward to seeing how this season goes. And I think I just saw an article last week saying that they had just finished wrapping on season 3, which will be the final season for it. So it's just going to be a 3-season thing, and looking forward to that as well.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I guess with that, we will move into our main event, our review of the Adam Project. This, like as you mentioned earlier, Bobby, directed by Sean Levy, who also directed Free Guy, stars Ryan Reynolds, Mark Ruffalo, Jennifer Garner, among others.
Zoe Saldana,
Kathleen Keener, and was that Walker Scoville?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, okay.
Sure.
We'll go with that. This dropped on March 11th over on Netflix. I guess it sounds like we've agreed we're just going to do a spoiler review of this.
Yeah. Why not?
Not that I feel like we necessarily have to spoil too much about it, but
sure.
I guess we'll see. But we'll be talking about spoilers to the Adam Project. With that, where to begin? Who wants to go? I don't have a.
I'll start.
Bobby's up.
Well, Bobby Jackson.
I started last week, and I figure we don't want to hem and haw about it, so I'll go. I'll just say straight out the gate, I enjoyed it. I thought that if I look at all the different things that, again, start to bring up his name again, Sean Levy, the things that he's done with Stranger Things, Real Steel, Free Guy, and this movie as well, they all have the same commonality to me, is that he deals with teenagers and kid issues in a really good way. And I think that he has a very good finger on the pulse of sort of like lighthearted family type of movies that you don't necessarily see anymore. And I think I saw someone online compare this movie to Flight of the Navigator. And Flight of the Navigator wasn't one of those that I watched constantly on HBO back in the day. My thing was more like Enemy Mine or Last Starfighter. And I think that that's kind of like how this would be in the sense for me is like that I like the sci-fi and a lot of the things that are done in this movie in terms of the way that they use sci-fi tech and some of the things that they did. And from a visual standpoint, I thought it actually looked pretty well. It's considering that sometimes the Netflix movies, I don't know, they don't always do what you think that they're going to do with the budget based on who's in these things. Sometimes maybe they spend more money on the person that's in it than the actual effects. But I thought this one did really good job with the special effects in it. And I really like the core of the story. There's a couple things I thought were a little cheesy and I didn't necessarily care for, but overall, I think I just enjoyed the aspect of it. And again, it was more of Ryan Reynolds being sort of Ryan Reynolds, but I just like the dynamic I think that he had with the kid, and I really like the dynamic between the kid, Ryan Reynolds, and Mark Ruffalo. And so I think that there was an aspect there that I really enjoyed, and just thought that it was a nice addition in terms of the library of movies that people can watch as a family on Netflix.
All right, Yasha, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, I mean, Big Bobby summed it up pretty strongly there. Like, I enjoyed it. I mean, there were some parts that I could nitpick and thought were really cheesy. I thought the kid, Walker Scobell and Ryan Reynolds playing a young Adam. I thought that he did a really good job of being basically a young Merc with the mouth, constantly running his mouth in what Ryan Reynolds did when he showed up into the show. Like, their timing and them playing off of each other was really great. Watching this movie is kind of it does get you in the feels with the whole dad situation, and that's a little bit hitting home for me of time travel and whatnot. And I enjoyed the sci-fi aspect of it as well. The special effects were, I thought, really cool. I mean, there were some questions that came up, but like, honestly, what Bobby said, it's like, if you just sit back and just enjoy the film and just kind of take it for what it is, like, you can enjoy it. It's, a really good, I think it's like PG or PG-13 film that, the whole family could really probably get behind and enjoy, because it's PG-13. Levy did a really good job. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. But you're right, it was Ryan Reynolds for the most part, kind of just playing Ryan Reynolds. Zoe Saldana was really fun and really good in that film as well. We had a really cool bad guy. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't know how quick I would be to like watch it a second or third time. I mean, I probably would put it on for really cool background noise and just kind of chuckle at the jokes and stuff like that. But I mean, I enjoyed it. Like, it was kind of fun, but I wouldn't necessarily tell anybody to break their bank or their neck to try and make sure that they watch it, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was cute. Let's say that. Let's just leave it at that.
All right. You know what? I'll just go next, unless you want to go, Michelle. It's up to you. I'm going to go next, but my review is probably going to be really boring. I thought this movie was fine. Yeah, like, you asked me my thoughts on him directing Deadpool 3 and having not seen, other than Stranger Things, I guess, episodes, having not really seen any films he's directed, and then seeing this, my reaction is, oh, okay, so he's doing Deadpool 3. Like, I thought this movie was fine. I think, kind of like you guys said, it's cute. It's a nice film. I think going into it, maybe I was expecting something with, I guess the best way to put it is like a bigger scope. And then I felt like this movie actually felt smaller than I expected. And, it was okay. Like, I guess it'd be a good family film. And, as a father, there's definitely, I'm in that time where it's like, I'm always thinking of, okay, like, we do movie nights every once in a while. What's a good movie we could watch? And this is definitely a family friendly film. That's a little different, that I could see, oh yeah, I could watch this with my kids. So in that respect, it's nice to have another film like this. Absolutely. And I'm not hating on it, but I'm not loving this movie either. I just, Ryan Reynolds is Ryan Reynolds, and that's great. I like him. And, if anything, I could have used more Zoe Saldana's character. She was really good, but she wasn't in the film nearly as much as I expected. Overall, the movie looks great, with one glaring exception in terms of visual effects. But
about the de-aging?
what?
Mhm.
No.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's pretty
Sure.
bad. But the movie's fine. Is kind of my quick thoughts on this. Michelle, what'd you think of it?
I'm somewhere in the middle between you and Bobby. I think Yasha and I probably are on the same level. I enjoyed it. I agree. I think it's a good family film. I think if you have kids that are a little older, a little preteeny, you get some basically those middle school years, I think this would be a great film for them. I think once you're high school level, you have no interest in this, and I think if you're literally not out of elementary school, you're not going to understand really anything that's going on. I think a lot's just going to fly over your head. So I think if you got a bunch of middle schoolers, you're in the zone. I think I'll start with some pros. Like, I thought the effects, other than the de-aging, were actually really good. You know, the fight scenes with the guys that had come in to basically capture Adam to take him back, they looked good. I like the way they, I'm going to say apparated is the best way, into the existence. And then, like, when he would use his quote-unquote lightsaber and the way that they would disintegrate, it was cool. It looked cool. And yeah, Zoe Saldana should have been in it way more. I wish we could have seen more of her. Her character seems very interesting and intriguing. And obviously, the character of Adam would be drawn to her. She's spectacular. She's badass. I think the kid playing the younger Adam, great job. I think Mark Ruffalo is kind of Mark Ruffalo in his like weirdness, but still really enjoyable. I love Ryan Reynolds. I think my biggest gripe would be that maybe he and the director have such a good relationship. The director was like, yeah, just go for it. Do you? And that's a shame because I think he put too much Ryan Reynolds into the character of Adam. And I don't always want to see Ryan Reynolds in being the character he is. Like, give me the character, not you. Like, it just seems so similar to so many other characters that he's done, which is very much just him. And it was kind of a downer that the character of Adam wasn't more, I guess, defined. It just seemed kind of same old same from Ryan Reynolds. And that's not the worst thing in the world, but it was definitely a little over top at times. And I'm kind of like, you're just doing this to show off? Like, it just seemed kind of showy sometimes in a way. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. But no, I don't think there's amazing stuff to write home about in the film, but it is an enjoyable watch. The pacing's really good. It goes by really fast. I think I'm with David. I guess I thought there was going to be kind of more of a broader vision or world, I guess, and it was pretty narrow, and that's not a bad thing. It definitely makes for very streamlined storytelling. But there's some heavy things in it. You know, people are murdered, you know, in this film. It's not the lightest topics for kids. And but there's some highlights. There's a scene between Ryan Reynolds and Jennifer Garner, who's playing the mother of Adam, in the bar, and she doesn't know who he is. And that was a really good scene, actually. I highly enjoyed that one. I thought that came across extremely well. And I think Jennifer Garner's relationship with even her young version of her son, Adam, I think is a pleasure to watch. But yeah, it's enjoyable. It's another, like you guys have said, it's another good one for the family archives in Netflix for sure. But I see why I didn't go to theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I'll say that I thought that, as you all have said, and I said earlier myself, is that Ryan Reynolds is being a lot of Ryan Reynolds in this. I think the scene that Michelle pointed out, and there was maybe one other scene, maybe two more other scenes where Ryan Reynolds was not being Ryan Reynolds, and he was doing actual acting and being in the scene and emotionally responding to the other person in the scene. I thought did really well in those things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have really liked more of that than just the more of the Ryan Reynolds thing that we typically got in this movie. And I think for anyone, I don't think we said this up top, so just for anyone that's confused, I'll read the tagline for this from IMDb about the Adam Project, which is a time-traveling pilot teams up with his younger self and his late father to come to terms with his past while saving the future. So, yeah, that's why you see the young kid is a younger version of Ryan Reynolds, and he's going back in time to interact with that aspect of himself. But, yeah.
I was going to touch on, like, going back to the pacing. It's like, it's almost like in an effort to make it even more family friendly, the movie is almost, for me, a bit too streamlined. Like it really just moves with a good quick pace and it's over. And as an adult watching it, I was like, there could have been more there. But being the family friendly movie it is, I guess maybe that was why there's not. And I do get that, but
yeah.
All I can do is watch it from my perspective, and I go,
Right. I think if I had been 12 years old and watched this movie, I'd be like, this movie's awesome. It's hilarious, and Zoe Saldana's hot, and yeah, there's a bunch of awesome action and sci-fi. This is great. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I think if you're in that zone of, I guess, 10 to 14, if you're in those middle school years, yeah, I think you're golden here. But I think once you get older than that, I think your expectations are a little bit, you're wanting a little bit more. Like David's wanting a little more meat to the story on the bone. You know, I agree. As an adult, yes, totally. So I think it just kind of depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, the fight scenes were a lot of fun. I will say that. Like when they got after it, like it makes me excited to see what they're going to bring in Deadpool, because if this is, this not being the necessarily action, centered, like what they can do with Deadpool, I think it can be really, really cool visually.
Yeah.
Like a lot of fun to watch.
I'm impressed with the way they did that. And like I said, it's clear to see that the director, that Sean Levy and Ryan Reynolds do have a good relationship. It comes through because you could tell he is just letting Ryan kind of run and go. And I think that could go up really well with the Deadpool. So, but yeah, I'll be curious to see how Deadpool 3 is going to go down.
But yeah, the Catherine Keener de-aging moments were like, when it first
a little rough.
When it first popped up, I was a little like thrown off because I was like, is she a younger? I mean, obviously she is, but is she supposed to look it? Oh wow, she doesn't look right. Like it's weird because it was not only just not done very well, but it was like she doesn't even really look that different. She just looks bad now. Like it's you didn't even really seem like you were making her that much younger looking. I mean, in some shots yes, and some shots no, and like it was just bad idea. Like you should have just like done some type of makeup job on her that just
get out the tape and strings and just pull like you've never pulled.
I don't know,
like
and with this actress, I don't even think you have to do that much of that. Like
no, she looks spectacular.
Yeah, like she looks great for her age, and then you're trying to make her look younger, and you're just not doing a good job of it. Right. It just was like, this is unnecessary. Like you didn't have to do this.
Yeah, because unfortunately, I think the de-aging almost made her ethnicity kind of change the look of it. It was almost like.
Well, it was like in the wider shots of the two of them, it seemed like they were like not that she is a big woman, she's not, but like the younger version was even thinner and slimmer, and
sure.
And I think that was
what happens to women. They expand a little bit.
I'm gonna walk away from this.
Yeah.
Stop talking, David. Stop talking. Stop talking, David.
Anyway,
and with that,
it did not need to be done. The de-aging of
I agree.
So Moon Knight, I mean, that looks really good, and like I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
So yeah, I mean, like it's one of those things like watching this movie. Like we don't like do like a rating system, but it's like if we had like a star system, I'd give it like a 3.5, maybe even a 4. Maybe it's not exceptional, but for a family movie, it's good.
Yeah, for me, I'd give it. If I had to do that, I'd give it a 3, like at most.
Not hearing bad things. That's solid enough. And if
you
you have Netflix, I don't see why you wouldn't watch it. Yeah.
Solid. Mm-hmm. Anyways.
All right.
Anybody have anything else they want to add on it? We hinted, and I was going to ask you guys, like we talked about earlier, like, we'll try to get into a routine of saying, okay, this is what we're going to review next episode. Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on reviewing, Deepwater?
That's what I was going to suggest, either that or seeing Red. So since you already saw Red, I guess we should see Deepwater.
Deepwater, I feel like, is like a bigger release for the next weekend. So
it is. Yeah, I think that's doable. I mean, Turning Red was good. It was an enjoyable release, but no, I think Deepwater's a good one.
Deepwater.
I think.
That work for you, Yasha? I'll watch Deepwater next week.
Yeah, I didn't remember what it was, so I'm looking it up right now, and I'm like, oh, this sounds really good, just off of the line that they have on IMDb, and I like Ben Affleck, so, and I can make this happen. I can try and make this happen for sure.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Deepwater will be on Hulu on March 18th. Yep. Starring Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas.
His old lover.
Yeah, this is true. But with that, we should be back next weekend to record that next Monday, a week from today, of course. So look out for that. We're going to wrap things up. We would always love to hear back from everyone listening and watching. You can email us at feedback@flickereffect.com. You can leave any questions or comments on any of the formats you're watching us on if you're watching us live. That could be either on YouTube, on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, all those good places. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon to be notified whenever we go live in the future or post any other videos for that matter. With that, I'm David Lott.
And I'm Bobby Jackson. Have a good, safe, happy not Thanksgiving. St. Patrick's Day. St. Patrick's Day, yes.
There we go.
You got this.
You got it, man.
We just lost an hour of sleep the other night. And
yeah, right?
I'm Yasha Wilson.
And I'm Michelle Hiller.
Thanks for listening and watching.